I've just come back from South Africa, and I want to share with you the A to Z of the animals that I saw in Kruger National Park. Now, I got to see all 5 of the big 5 minus 1. Which one do you think I didn't get to see? Was it the elephant, the lion, the leopard, the rhino, or the African buffalo? You'll have to watch to find out. You'll also learn more about the small 5, the secret 5, and the ugly 5. There's a little bit of fun facts for you about each animal that I saw, minus that one. So come along with me as we explore the A to Z of wildlife in Kruger National Park. This is the African buffalo. You can see here an oxpecker. The oxpecker and the African buffalo have what is called a symbiotic relationship, mutualism. They both benefit from having the oxpecker on the African buffalo. The African buffalo gets rid of all of the parasites, ticks, insects, and the oxpecker gets a meal. This is the lilac-breasted roller, known for its acrobatic aerial skills. This is the red-billed hornbill. You might recognize him from The Lion King. It's Zazu. This is a kingfisher. They're about the size of a sparrow. And the racket-tailed roller. Their calls aren't musical, but squawks and squeaks. People often think that chameleons change their color based on their surroundings, but as you can see here, this baby chameleon changed based on his mood. He really wanted to go back on his tree. We were really lucky to have our guide find a baby chameleon. Did you know that they have eyes that move separately and can see 180 degrees both directions, giving them 360-degree vision? The dung beetle rolls up a ball and then the male pushes the ball around in order to attract a female. Once a female is sufficiently impressed by the size of the beetle's dung ball, she will lay her eggs inside of it. Some African dung beetles use the Milky Way to guide their way in order to navigate. African elephants are larger than their Asian counterparts, and one of the ways that you can tell is the shape of their ears are sort of shaped like the continent of Africa. One really neat thing that we were able to see was a group of female elephants protecting the babies under a tree while they napped. The foam nest frog does exactly what it sounds like. It creates a nest of foam for it to lay its eggs inside of. The female will put the foam nest over water so that once the tadpoles hatch, they will drop directly down inside of the water. Here you can see a foam nest frog nest. The giraffe actually has 7 vertebrae in their neck, just like a human. Giraffes have really high blood pressure in order to be able to get the blood pumped from their heart all the way up to their head. This is why you'll rarely ever see a giraffe laying down, and if you do, its head and neck will still be extended. The spotted hyena has a strict alpha-female hierarchy within their groups. Hyenas, contrary to popular belief, are not scavengers. They get about 70% of their own food, only scavenging for about 30%. These are impalas. Male impalas have very large horns that extend from the top of their heads in order to help with defense and protection. One thing that was really neat that we learned about impalas is that they have scent glands on the back of their legs so that if they get scared and scatter in the night from predators, they can find one another. The Kori bustard is the world's heaviest flying bird and the largest flying bird native to Africa. We were really lucky to get to see one in flight. They can weigh up to 19 kilograms or 41 pounds, so it's not very often that you get to see them flying by. The kudu is a type of spiral-horned antelope. The horns can reach 28 inches or 71 centimeters. But why are they spirals? They're spirals because of something called a growth pulse. Different times of the year, they grow thicker or thinner, creating this spiral. Genes control the growth pulse. One of the most interesting things I learned about lions while we were in South Africa is that the males have a thick, tangled mane, and the reason for that is to help protect the arteries in their neck, so that when other males fight them and use their long claws, it helps protect them by getting tangled up inside that thick mane. This is a millipede. It has a segmented body that you can see here and is an arthropod. What makes it different from the centipede is that centipedes are venomous, while millipedes are not. Millipedes also have 2 legs per segment rather than 1, which the centipedes do. There are 5 animals known as the Big Five, and unfortunately, the leopard was one of the Big Five that we were not able to see in South Africa. A really cool fact about the leopard, though, is that they're designed for climbing trees. They have retractable claws, whereas cheetahs only have semi-retractable claws and lions have protractable claws. This allows the leopard to climb the tree. Ostrich are really hard to see on safari, according to our guide, but we were fortunate enough to see them and take a photo through the binoculars. Ostriches cannot fly, but they are incredibly fast on land, reaching speeds up to 43 miles an hour in a sprint and running continuously at 30 to 37 miles an hour. The animal I fell in love with most in South Africa is the warthog, considered one of the ugly 5, which is a list of the most ugly animals you can see in Kruger National Park. I really loved learning about them. Their warts aren't warts at all, but are actually cartilage. And you can tell the difference between males and females because males have 2 sets of warts while females have 1. We were really fortunate to see a mother and son pair of cheetahs out in the morning in Kruger National Park. Cheetahs prefer to be out in the open generally during the day to hunt because they hunt during the day rather than at night. And they like the wide open spaces because of their high speed, which they chase their prey at, using their tail as a rudder for quick turns. Another one of the Big Five that can be hard to spot is the rhinoceros, primarily because sightings of rhinoceros are not tracked by the public like other animals within Kruger National Park because of poaching. We were fortunate enough to see rhinos at 3 or 4 different times. There are 2 different kinds, the black rhino and the white rhino. The spotted genet is part of the Secret 7. These are 7 animals at Kruger National Park that can be really hard to spot. We were able to see one at nighttime during our night safari. They're not cats at all. They're actually part of the mongoose family, and we were really fortunate to see 2 playing. This is the leopard tortoise, considered one of the small 5, which is smaller animals named for the Big 5 in South Africa. So, for example, the leopard and the leopard tortoise. One thing that's really interesting is that they are crepuscular, which means they typically come out at twilight. However, we saw them very active during the day several times. We were fortunate to see quite a few hippos in South Africa, but most of the time they were underwater, which is what earned them their place on the U in our A to Z list. However, a really interesting fact is, despite seeing them in the water, they don't swim. They also don't float because their bodies are too dense. They walk along the riverbed. The vulture, considered another one of the ugly 5. We were lucky to see all 5 of the ugly 5. They are a really interesting bird. They are mostly silent. They can only growl or snarl. They're not able to call like other birds do. They're predominantly scavengers, but they will kill small animals if needed. I honestly have no idea how all these animals end up on a list called the Ugly Five. Another one, the wildebeest. It was baby season, so we were able to see small, tiny little wildebeests. Wildebeests are also called gnus, which might be what you know them as. They are a type of antelope, and their predators are lions, cheetahs, and hyenas. Another member of the Secret Seven that we were able to see at our night safari is the African wildcat. It's about the size of a regular house cat, maybe a little bit bigger, and has tabby-like markings. Unfortunately, you can see the video quality isn't great, but it was really fun to get to spot one at night. This is a masked weaver. It's so called because it weaves its nest out of twigs and grass. You can see this one here. The male makes the nest, hanging it from a branch with an entrance towards the bottom. If a female likes it, she'll go in and lay out some of her feathers and line the nest. If she doesn't, the male has to tear it down and start over. Coming in last is the zebra. Is the zebra black with white stripes or white with black stripes? They are black with white stripes, and the white stripes can be 18 degrees cooler than the black stripes. Zebras usually fend off their predators with kicks and bites, and they practice that on each other in large groups. Well, did you guess it? That's right, the leopard. The only one of the big five that we didn't see, and the only one of the 26 animals that I shared with you that we were not able to see in person during our time in South Africa. If you loved what you learned about animals with me, I love animals as well. Then go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can keep getting updates about all the great things that I have to share with you from my travels. I'm the Traveling Teach. I'll see you again soon.